are many who strive, but few endure. There are many who struggle, but few prevail. And of those who remain, there is only one who can truly be called a hero.
Welcome to Life and Business Success with Olumayowa Taiwo. I would like to start this episode by appreciating you for the likes and the feedbacks that we got from the last episode. Thank you, we appreciate you. On this episode, we will be talking about how to pull your family out of recession. If you can recall, in our last episode, we talked about celebrating recession because of the various benefits that we have to derive. On this episode, we'll be talking about pulling your family out of recession. It is important for us to know that despite the fact that the nation is in recession, there are so many families that are not in recession. You're surprised? Yes, so many families are not in recession. As we all know that one of the indicators of recession in an economy is the inability to meet up with obligations. For instance, we have a whole lot of states that have not been able to pay salaries of workers. Social amenities have not been provided for. These are indicators that there is recession in the land. Likewise, we have many families that cannot meet up with their obligations. So how do you know a family that is in recession? A family is said to be in recession if the earnings of that family cannot meet up with the obligations of the family. If a family cannot meet up with daily obligations such as feeding, clothing, payment of rent, payment of school fees, and many other expenses that are necessary for the family, such family is said to be in recession, just like the nation. So it is important for us to know how to pull our families out of recession in case your family is in recession. So how can you pull your family out of recession? Number one, do a sincere evaluation of your family's immediate and recurring expenses. Make a list of all your expenses. You need to make a list of those expenses and identify the ones that are important. We call those ones obligations. What are obligations? Obligations are things that must be done. For instance, it is a must for your family to feed. It is a must for your family to be clothed. You must pay house rent. You must pay school fees. You must pay for gas to transport your children to school and also to transport yourself to your various places of work. So these things are your obligations. So it is important for you to separate your obligations from other expenses. And after doing the sincere evaluation, I will advise that you delete every other expenses outside your obligation. If truly your family is in recession, you need to do away with every expense outside your obligation. What are the expenses that must be separated or deleted from your list? What kind of expenses are we really talking about? Number one, unnecessary visitation. Both the visitations you receive and the one to embark on, you must cut it off. In as much you want to pull yourself and your family out of recession, you must do away with such expenses. Secondly, expenses you incur on unnecessary events. Most of the events we attend are not necessary, from weddings to funerals to birthdays to parties, whichever. you need to know the ones that are necessary. You cannot just start buying attires, buying ashwebi, buying all those things when they are not necessary. You don't just pick up those things and start buying them. You need to do away with all these expenses. Another expense that you must cut off is the procurement of things that are not necessary. So many people buy things that they don't even need. They buy a whole lot of stuff and they just keep them at home. It is time for you to stay away from such expenses if truly you are considering pulling yourself and your family out of recession. The only thing you should focus on at a moment like this are obligations, things that must be done. Feed your family, clothe your family, pay your rent, pay the school fees of your children, transport yourself to work, let your children have a means of going to school, and then you're fine. Look at other things that are necessary. Obligations varies, I agree. Yes, make a list of your obligations. Be sincere about it. Be sincere that these are things that you cannot do without. Be sincere that these are things that you cannot do without. These are things that must be done. And as such, as soon as you have a list of that, focus on your obligation. Now, the second thing you need to do to pull your family out of recession is to cut down on the cost of your obligations. Don't mix this with the first point. The first point has to do with separating your obligations from unnecessary expenses. But on this second point, what you need to do is to cut down on the cost of your obligations. After identifying those things that must be done, talking about the feeding, talking about clothing, talking about shelter, which has to do with paying for rent and some other things, talking about payment of school fees and many more. All those things you have identified as obligations, you need to visit them and cut down costs on them. Don't forget that we said a family is said to be in recession if such family cannot cater for their obligations. So what it means is that if you are in recession, if your family is in recession, it means the cost of your obligation is more than what you are earning. And as such, wisdom requires that you visit that list of obligations and cut down cost on it. For instance, the cost of feeding the family can be reduced with at least 20-25% if only such family can move from the option of buying foodstuffs in retail to buying in bulk. Now, when you buy in bulk, buy those things cheaper. Also, if a family is in the system of buying lunch in fast foods, in eateries, such families can also visit that obligation of feeding by preparing breakfast and lunch together in the morning. Then such family, such father, such mother can move out every morning with a lunchbox in their trunk. What are you doing? You're trying to cut down the cost of your obligation on feeding so that you can pull yourself out of recession. Yes, it looks as though the 25% is small. Well, when you cut down 25% on feeding and cut down 25% on some other things and another 25% on another obligation, it amounts to something very reasonable. Another obligation cost that must be reduced or that can be reduced is on your rent. For instance, if your family is in recession and you are living in premium locations, when I say premium locations, I mean expensive locations. We all have such areas in every country, in every state. You have locations that are very expensive to live in. Now, if you are in recession and you live in such locations, your office is situated in such location, I will advise relocate. Relocate. It is important you move out of recession. Don't bother about what people will say. When it has to do with focusing on pulling your family out of recession, you don't bother with what people are saying. If you are living in premium location and your family is in recession, you can cut costs on rent. You can cut costs both on your office rent and your house rent by moving to another location that is less expensive but conducive. Yes, it has to be conducive but less expensive. And as such, you realize that you have also saved another good percentage of that cost. So, like I said earlier, by the time you look at the value or the percentage of cost that you are going to be cutting on rent, and you add it up to the cost you have cut on feeding and some other things, it is going to turn out to be a reasonable amount of money. Then you can be sure to say you are on your way out of recession. Listen, once you are out of recession and you stabilize financially, you can move back to those premium locations. You can move back to that premium location. You can relocate your office. You can relocate your home. You can relocate your family back to that premium location. Once you are out of recession and your family finance has come back to stabilize itself. Now, it is important for you to know that this is one of the problems that people are having. So many people are bothered with what people will say. They are bothered with the comments of their friends. They are bothered with the comments that the families will make. And because of that, some have just decided to continue living in frustration. Yes, they live in premium locations. Yes, they appear to be living well, but the truth about it is they are in recession. If you are in recession, don't wait for what people will say. Move out of that location. Cut costs. Balance yourself. Then you grow in your finance. And then you can go back to those premium locations like kings and queens. Till we meet again in our next episode. Don't forget you can reach me on 08060592826. I'll take that again, 08060592826. You can also send me an email on lifeandbusinesssuccess@gmail.com. lifeandbusinesssuccess@gmail.com. You can also follow me.
There are many who strive, but few endure. There are many who struggle, but few prevail. And of those who remain, there is only one who can truly be called a hero.